Welcome, everybody, to another amazing episode of the world famous podcast, Nailed It. I'm joined live. Where are you at? In Florida?
Tampa, Florida.
Okay, I'm joined live in Tampa via Tampa, Florida through a Zoom conference call with my good friend, my auto show partner. We always go to the auto show together in Houston,
Yeah,
and a guy who is half the man he used to be, Pablo Luna. Pablo.
the better half is still here. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think everybody kind of goes through some, revitalizations of themselves. They have different versions. You've seen me in my worst version, and you've seen me now. I feel like this is probably the best version or a better version of myself. It's not the best, right? Because I've been on a journey of weight loss, and you fucking crushed it. I mean, that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast. When you called me yesterday, actually, for everybody that wants to know, Pablo wholesales in Houston, but he lives in Tampa. He's been super successful doing this. 7 years ago, he was on my podcast with me when we were at the Wakefield Crowbar. He flew down and sat live on the couch, and we did the real estate happy hour. We did that with Pablo and another guy. I can't remember who the other guy was.
Marlon.
Marlon.
Hmm.
That's right, Marlon. And they basically talked about difference in wholesaling. And if you saw Pablo back then, or remember Pablo from back then, and you see him today, or you follow him on Facebook, which I would suggest everybody follow him on Facebook. Dude sends out a lot of killer deals from wholesaling, but not just the fact that he's nailing it in virtual wholesaling, but for me to have you on the podcast was because you're doing the thing that I am chasing all day long, which is like, how do I maintain this beautiful girlish figure of mine? Actually, it's like, how do I lose my dad bod? And how is it that everything that I eat and put in my stomach expands like tenfold? I like burgers. I like buns. I like tacos, and I love cheese. And you
Yeah.
seem to have like really, hammered down on stuff that I cannot get away with. How did you do it, man? Give everyone a backstory. Like,
Yeah.
how
So I
much did
mean,
you weigh?
I was probably like right around 200 pounds. Now I'm down to like 145 ish, around there, fluctuate up and down. But I also gained muscle, and so I would say the fat was probably around 50 pounds or more of losing the fat. Um, but it really started out as, I've always told myself, like, one day I know I'll lose the weight, one day. I went to, a Tony Robbins event, and that was probably like the really like Kickstarter of me saying, okay, hey, let's really try and put some effort into this. Um, and my brother-in-law, he invited me to do a mud run, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. So I was like, all right, I gotta train for this. I gotta start running and just doing stuff like that. So I started with
Was it
Orange
Tough
Theory.
Mudder?
No, we evolved to that one. This one was just a little short 3K or 5K one. Tough Mudder is 8 miles or more. So
Okay.
I evolved to getting there, and that's actually part of my story. Was, like a lot of people always say, the motivation is what gets you started, discipline is what keeps you going. I didn't really focus on that part that much in the beginning. I started training for this one race, and I did it, and I was really happy with myself. I got through it, and then I was like, I don't want to get fat again. I don't want to go back to my old ways. So I was just like, let me pick another race. So I picked another race. So I kept on training for that one, did that one, picked a race, kept on having something to strive for. So that was the motivation that got me there, until I got to the point where it was just habit now, where I just, I enjoy going out for a run. I got to the point where I said I did the Tough Mudder. It was 8 miles, and then I was like, all right, what's next? Then I did half marathon. And then I was like, well, what's after that? And I actually did a small little race. Just, it was like an inflatable thing. It was kind of fun. And some guy there talked to me. He's like, "You should try triathlons." And I was just like, "All right, let's see what this triathlon thing is. I've never swam before. It seems scary." People always said, do something, pick something that scares you. So I was like, all right, let's go with that. And I went out and got a coach to teach me how to swim. And I started off with just a sprint triathlon, which is it's about like I think a 450 yard swim, and then 12-mile bike ride, and then it ends with a 5K run. And it was tough, and I got through it. But that first race of doing a triathlon, of just seeing all the cool, like these awesome people who are just striving and doing every single day of going out there. I was like, it was a really cool community, and I was instantly hooked. So then I would just continue, pick another race, a little bit longer, and then always just had something to keep me going. But like ultimately, it was, I wanted to look good. You asked me yesterday, what was that one thing that really, made me do it, and to be completely honest, it was getting out of the shower. You get
Yeah.
out of the shower, you see yourself in the mirror, and you're just like, damn, I don't like that. Started lifting weights. I did a whole bunch of different types of, diets and, fad diets and all that type of stuff. And each of them did play a role. And, I don't want to knock any one thing as long as you stay with it. You'll see the results. Um, you know, so, now, I'm happy that, I get out of the shower. I'm just like, yeah, I give myself a little double take, and, it makes you feel good, and all the hard work that you put into it. So that's really what it was. It was just staying committed to something. I think you asked me once too, and I was like, stick to something for at least 6 months. Anything you do, usually, you'll see the results. And that's really what it is. So there's three things I like to live by, and it's number one, just choose constantly choose consciously choose what you want to be every single day. And it can change. So a lot of my things now is like, I want to be an Ironman. I'm a triathlete. So I wake up every day and think, all right, well, what does a triathlete do today? What's my somebody else who's already doing today? And I just try to live my whole day like that. And there's some days that I'm just like, you know what? No, I don't want to do this today. I want to be somebody else. I want to be somebody who doesn't do anything and just has fun. And I make my decisions on that, but I don't do anything half anymore, halfway in. So it's knowing that, like, every decision I make, all right, do I really want to eat this chocolate bar? Do I want to eat this burger or something like that? Uh, is that what a triathlete would do? Or is that, it goes into business also, like, I don't want to go to work today. I don't want to do certain things today, but is that a successful business person would do? No. So I like to do everything consciously as, a goal, or as somebody who I see who would be doing things, and do it that way and that way only.
I
Um,
see. Okay, so the stepping out of the shower thing, I call that the dicky do. Do you know what the dicky do is? It's when your
no.
belly hangs out further than your dicky do.
Yeah. So it was
So
it
that
was it
is,
was all that, man.
yeah, it's
And
a it's tough, man. You like you were talking about the motivation. I remember you told me this yesterday. You were like, "Yeah, I remember when you posted that you were starting this journey, and it was because I was going to go to Playa del Carmen to go get engaged. My girlfriend at the time, who is now my fiance, Kendra, didn't even know that I was doing. I was just like, she had made this comment, and I just heard it was like the last comment that I wanted to hear. It was like, it was the you used to. And man, when you hear the you used to, and then you take a look in the mirror and you're like, I kind of let a lot of this stuff go. And then it was funny because as soon as I started working out, I also noticed her. not that you know what I'm saying. When you work out and a woman sees you in your element and she sees you like going and crushing and trying to like fight for a better version of you, they can't help but find attraction in that. And they also want to level up with you. It's very
Sure.
tough when, I mean, speak to this. Is or were you alone, or did your partner, your wife, also partner with you in your health process?
Originally, it was alone. I mean, my wife is beautiful. She's always going to look better than I am. So, uh, just I started alone because I
You
also
got
wanted
points for
to.
that, by the way.
I wanted to look better for her as well. I've seen pictures. Honestly, I used to hate taking pictures, and then when we did take pictures, seeing myself next to her, I was just like, man, like she could do better, So I wanted to be the person for her as well. And after we got married, a lot of my focus changed. She became obviously my number one priority. So that meant, I didn't go out with my friends as much, and so if I didn't go out with my friends as much, I wasn't drinking as much. I wasn't, getting into all the bad things that I used to do, that we used to do. Uh, so it's all those things, and I was like, what, I prioritize my life, my business too. I was like, all right, I got to make sure I can provide for her. Now it's not just me. Now we're married. Now I got to make sure that she's always taken care of. And it was just really all those things together that really kept me pushing, and having her support there. I mean, she's amazing. Like they call it, our Sherpas. She wakes up with me at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning to go to a race, just so I can go run, swim, and bike a little bit. And she's there carrying all my stuff, taking pictures. So that support, was really awesome. And then, she started seeing me progress a lot, which got her to as well, saying, you know what, hey, I want to do some things too. So now she works out regularly as well, and if I go on a strict diet, like she's there with me too, making sure that there's nothing bad in the house. Um, and that actually gets to my number 2 point, is that you really have to set yourself up for success in anything you do. So, that for me, for the weight loss meant, meal prep. I meal prep every single week, just because, like if you don't have your lunch, it's easy to say, hey, I'm just going to go
Yeah.
run a burger because that's super quick, but it's not healthy, and it's not in line with the goals that I want to. So if I have my meal prep ready, I know it's a lot easier to eat, and then the morning lunch, and then just you have a whole day of good stuff, and then by dinner you're just like, you know what, I want to keep on to this. I don't want to ruin it by getting some crappy food or even going out drinking, because that honestly, that drinking was probably one of my biggest things of weight gain, just because there's tons of
It's
calories
just
and carbs
nothing but
and all that
sugar.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
All
like the
all
bad
the
decisions afterwards, you get the tacos after going out and
right,
all that
right. You get the
stuff.
munchies afterwards because
Yeah,
sometimes we
so
didn't just drink, we also smoked. So then you got all those problems. I mean, for
exactly.
people who don't really know, I mean, Pablo has done an evolution of his life. I mean, Pablo was once caught in a fountain, naked, dude, in public, and he would be the first person to kind of like, if you could challenge Pablo, Pablo would go and get into a fight. And now I look at you and I see you and I both grown up, but it's like you really have like really, you can see where the discipline has really helped in every aspect of your life, not just eating. It's like you have control over your emotions, you have control over your actions and how you respond to things. I don't know. I've just seen I'm going to go back to this. 2 years ago, 2019, we were starting. It was like a week before the football, NFL football. Pablo and I have been in this is the first year, I think, in like 7 years, we haven't been rivals on the fantasy football.
Fantasy football.
Yeah. And Pablo has always been the commish. And so I was like, dude, why aren't you putting this out there? Oh, I really didn't think anyone cared about doing it. I was like, Pablo, the only reason why I do fantasy football is because it's the one time a year for 6 months that I get to hang out with you one day over the banter, the message board. That's the only that's the only way that we like have something that kind of bonds us together now,
Yeah.
because there's no more auto shows and all that other stuff. And you were like, man, I didn't really even know that that really mattered to you, and it did, because I always thought you were, you're a good friend, and good friends are not defined by someone who you always talk to. I tell this to people all the time. Chris Funk and I don't talk every single day, but when we do talk, we talk about things that matter, and we can get deep. And with you and I know that I can go deep with you. You didn't even want to do this podcast, and you're killing it. Like, I can't believe that you don't do this and like teach people more. You're great at this, man. You have a gift. I'm glad that you like twisted your arm to come on here, because I mean, one, you did the show 7 years ago. Now you're doing it again. Um, so let's branch from a second from fitness and partnerships and how that helps catapult your success. You said the point number two for you was you have to set yourself up for success. So talk to me about, now that you are the Pablo before and the Pablo today, what's the difference in business?
um,
With
Consistency.
especially with the eating and all that stuff, like how is that like just shown itself with results?
So yes, I mean, it really, the process of running a business and the process of losing all this weight, it made me realize that like it's not an overnight thing. You know, it's constant work. It's putting into hours, and actually my point number three is, it's something that I tell myself a lot, is that it's not always supposed to be fun. You
Ooh,
know,
that's such a
uh,
good man. That's a good one right there. It's
yeah.
success is
So
not always fun.
yeah. So I mean, it's about putting in the hard work, doing the things, especially when you don't want to, and that comes into business play a lot. You know, like because I had a team, and it's easy for me to go out and just say, you know what, I don't want to do anything. I'll let them handle it all, and just have fun. But then I realized, like that's not always the best move, for the business. So you got to make sure that you're always, staying active in it, and especially, like I said, when you don't want to, making those calls, calling that person back that it's going to cuss you out, or why you gave them that offer last time that was too low, and he's probably not going to change, but you gotta just give it a shot anyways, and hope for the best. It's following blindly, kind of saying that if you follow a certain path, it's going to get you to the results that you want eventually.
How
You
many
know,
people ask you about weight loss tips?
a lot actually.
What
it's
would you say
it's
that the number one thing is that what's the number one question they ask, and what's the number one reason why they can't achieve it?
how did you do it,
Yeah.
um, and why they can't? Because it's hard. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it took me 2 years probably, to get to a suitable place. But I think it was you. I think we have a text message, and a lot of people always go for these fad diets, to lose weight really really fast. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I did it too, but it's not sustainable. It's the quicker it comes off, it's a lot
The
easier to
faster it
get
goes
back
back.
on. So, I mean, I've done keto. It's that was good. It was really good to lose weight. But the weight loss, it was like, some people would joke around and say I look like a cancer patient, because it's just like you're not putting on muscle. You're dropping all the fat. Really, what I do now is just I prioritize protein, stay away from sugars, processed foods. And then, because I do these long, really long workouts, and I got a watch that tells me how many calories I burn, and spending 6 hours, 8 hours a day, and on a long training, and you see that you burn like 4,000 calories, and then you go eat a pizza and you realize that like crap, like half this pizza is 2,000 calories, and you're like, well, I'd have to go do all of that again, just to burn this off. And you start really realizing that what you want to put into your body has to be good and nutritional. But don't get me wrong, I still love pizza. I still eat all those things. I don't call it cheat days necessarily anymore, because that's also a thing you said earlier. Collecting my and all that type of stuff. And for me, it's a lot of self-talk. Back in the day when I was drinking a lot, of my self-talk was bad. I was probably in a low place, and now it's I only say good things to myself. And cheating for me is a negative word. So I shouldn't have to feel like
I call it better bad choices.
better bad choices. Yeah, so that's it still makes me happy. And there's no reason why you shouldn't make yourself happy. So but I don't want to do it all the time, because if I do it all the time, it's not going to make me happy. So it's a lot of that, and the emotion part for sure. Like when I do trains, especially if it's inside bike, I can put my headphones in or for a run, and I'll only listen to podcasts or different motivational things that just constantly reinforce in your head that you're a certain way, or you need to think a certain way, so that once you're outside of it, sooner or later you trick your mind into believing it. So like right, I have on my mirror every single day, it says, "Who do you choose to be?" And I choose to be an Iron Man. So I'm gonna be an Iron Man.
That's a great point. But like, Funk and I talked about this on our podcast, was the vision board. And when you write something down and you have to see it all the time, especially on a mirror, because the reflection is you, and you're
Mhm.
needing to see a better reflection of you, and that's what you're striving for. That's such a good point. Like, write it down and keep it in front of you every day. So when you brush your teeth, you're still being reminded that you're not who you want to be, but you're pushing for something better.
Yep.
I don't know. I love that.
Yeah. One of the things I actually saw on Instagram and I liked a lot was, you know, now that I know better, I must do better.
Ooh,
So
I can't unlearn what I already know.
yeah. So and that's another thing. Like the past is the past. Like it doesn't. They say past performance doesn't predict future performance. So who cares of everything you had? You failed to diet in the past. Failed doing something. Doesn't mean you can't start again. Doesn't mean you're gonna fail again. Just always go into it. With, like I said, like blindly knowing that if you do a certain thing for long enough, you're gonna get to where you want to be.
So how long have you been doing this now?
Weight loss journey, probably about 4 years total. Triathlon about two. And really the triathlon thing was probably the coolest part, because I went from being a nobody to, my last race, I got second place in my division and eighth place overall. So it took 2 years to get there. I got a race coming up in May that hopefully I'll qualify to go to Worlds and get a race in Amsterdam. So it's
That's awesome, man.
awesome progression of all that type of stuff. And like I say, just always pushing to do more. And I just, I want to know that I lived my life to the fullest, and try things that scare me. Like the other day, I swam around a little island that's around us. That's 3 miles. My goal is to do a marathon swim, which is, 6 miles to 10K. And I mean, if you're going from where I couldn't even swim, I could barely swim across the one lap of the pool, 2 years ago, to being able to do all this type of stuff. But it's a slow progress. But I tell a lot of people that sometimes it takes me longer to learn things, but I definitely go farther. I stay consistent. And once I get it, I feel like I get it, and I keep going. And I like being on here and doing things like this, and telling other people, because I was just like everybody else, like everybody else who had a thought of, I want to lose weight, or I want to start a business or anything like that. And I've done it all. And I love giving back and telling people how I did it. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to you. Do you really want it enough? Are you committed enough to, do the work? And as everybody knows, that's the only way to get ahead is
Yeah,
do the
and
work.
you kept making a statement over and over yesterday. You said, "Hey, give me a week so that I can get my headspace right."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't want to give you a week. I want you to just come on real and raw and just go, blow and go." I mean, it's kind of like you were saying with weight loss, right? You first you always want to do something that makes you scared. So probably being unprepared kind of was like out of my comfort zone. And
Yep.
then when you do it and it's recorded, it's a little bit easier. But I think the best part of this is it's just like your weight loss journey. If you keep saying, well, next week I'm going to start because next week's the first of the year or whatever, right? You're just continuing making the same bad choices, but you're putting off, you're delaying the scare, right?
Mhm.
And so I just think getting on is great because you're that's what you're telling people to do right now. Just go do something. So, what do people need to just go do? Like, if they wanted to start their journey tomorrow, where would you have them start? Would it be physical fitness or nutrition or both? Obviously both,
Uh,
but
definitely both. But for me the gym's easy. Working out is easy. It's the kitchen is definitely the hardest part. Like where you want to eat. Um, the best the best tool that I was given was an app called MyFitnessPal. It's a free app. You can pay for it also, and it has more features. But it's really you can just put in a food log and just log everything you eat for a week, and it'll tell you like how many calories or anything. You can scan barcodes. It makes it really easy. And that's honestly how now I still use it to plan my meals. I put in, all right, so I've got this much ground, 7 ounces of ground turkey, some sweet potato, and it breaks down all the macros, and you know exactly where you're going to be at. And then I know like, hey, I'm going to train X amount, and I should burn X amount of calories. And if I want to be in a deficit, then I need to make sure I tailor my consumption to that. Or if I want to put on more muscle, then, I got to make sure I add even more protein and more calories. And it all just depends on where I'm at on my training cycle. Right now, I'm on a cutting phase since I have a race in the 3 weeks. Um, but yeah, I mean, the MyFitnessPal would definitely, I would say, get that, log all your food. And then also, if you're logging all your food, I guarantee you it's going to be a lot easier for you to say, no, I don't want that donut. Because you're
ooh,
not going to write down, I had a donut today and I had a soda, all that type of stuff. So again, consciously do everything. So that's
you know
that's
what I
that's a
tell
big
this is what I tell people today about, and I've started posting this on Facebook about like deals, like they'll say, "Oh, I got this real estate deal. It's a great deal. Here's the ARV, here's the, my bullshit rehab numbers, and this is your profit, right?" And I always tell them, whenever I reply back, and it's just like I did with you yesterday, I'm like, "Hey, look, this is what's all around it." I'm like, here's what I would actually make. And I will tell them, just like you're saying with MyFitnessPal and donuts, numbers have no opinions. The math has no opinion. It just is the deal. You've done this for 4 years, right? This is not like you've been doing it for 3 months and now you're on a podcast and you're trying to tell people how to change the world, right? You've been
yeah.
doing it 4 years. 4 years is a long enough time frame to go through a couple of seasons. You've gone through 8 seasons,
Yeah.
right? Or not 8 seasons, but you've gone through 4 full seasons, and you've done that. That man, you've gone through four. This is going to be your fifth summer.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, when your goal is, I mean, and that's the reason why I'm wanting to get back on my weight loss journey right now. My motivation is I'm putting a swimming pool in my backyard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take my shirt off. The scariest thing is I went to Funk's July 4th party with Kendra, and I didn't really want to take my shirt off. And then I posted a picture of us, and I was leaning like this, I was leaning like this, and Chris was over the top of me, and then I had my arm around Kendra. and it looked like I had breasts that were stuck together. And someone said, double D's. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. I got
No,
to
I'm
change
honestly
my life.
that was the majority of my life was
Yeah.
I didn't go to any spring breaks in college, with my friends because I knew they were going to beaches and I didn't want to take my shirt off. So
You,
I lost a lot of part of my life because of that, that fear that, just not being where I be. And I was like, what, I don't want to do that anymore. And, now I'm just like, it's, I'm excited, first time in my life, I was, all right, sure. All right, it's cool. Let's do it, so,
for
um,
other people that
jump in
don't
the
know,
pool.
you can make some killer food. Like in your presentation is chef like. I mean, you make a great charcuterie board. I totally want a old pap. I want an old pap cookbook. Old pap is Pablo spelled backwards. So he made fun of me one day on so the best part of fantasy football was whenever we would play against each other, we would both make names that made fun of the other person, and
Yeah.
that was the best part. So mine was old pap anal, which is Pablo Luna spelled backwards, and his was urban destruction.
Urban
So
destruction, overgrown leprechauns,
overgrown
a whole bunch of
leprechauns. Yes, yes,
them.
you came up. You are the
Gingers have
master.
no souls.
You were the no souls. You were the master of naming our team. It was like luck. Yeah, I can't see it, but it was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
Um, okay, well, what is your parting thought that you have for anybody today?
Um, Consistency, that's the number one thing in anything. Um, Self-talk, the way you talk to yourself, even if you like, look yourself in the mirror, like I used to say, oh man, you look so gross and stuff like that. That's not even healthy. Just say, maybe like I'm not where I want to be at yet, but if I do this, um, a lot of people say, sticks and stones make bones, words never hurt you. And I believe that to a certain extent that other people's words shouldn't be able to affect you. But the words you give yourself absolutely, mean a lot and carry a lot of weight. So fill your mind with only positive things. That's going to help you out every single day. It helps me out a ton. There's that, and then do something that's scary. Do something hard every single day. That's a David Goggins thing. And embrace the suck. Because
Oh,
that's the only thing that's going to get you further.
I love David Goggins, and my parting thought today would be to one of my favorite podcasts that really is a mindset podcast is Lewis House's it's the Success Podcast. What is it called? Oh my
I'm not
gosh,
sure.
you don't know Lewis House? School of Greatness.
Um,
School of
so
Greatness
great.
podcast.
I'll listen to it. I'll find it.
Oh my
I'll
gosh,
listen
how do
to
you
it.
not know Lewis House? He is like
I don't know.
right up your
I
alley.
listen to a lot of like motivation, just like different pastors that just keep building you up. People that came from nothing, and those are the ones I like because I feel like it's a lot of my background.
That's why you and I get along well. I mean, look at our circle of people who we would hang out with. We're all a bunch of nobodies that became somebody in Houston.
Somebody,
Oh man,
something.
the I don't know if you've seen it, but I posted it last week, which was the Paul Wall and Alex Bregman. It was like the Astros hype video for the season opener.
Yeah,
And he said, Houston, it's the place where we get kicked down, but we come back stronger. It's the place where anybody who wants to be somebody can go find it. And you know how it has the picture of the overpass that says be somebody.
be
And
somewhere.
I
Yeah,
would say if Houston had a name, it would be somebody. And I would say
I like
like
that.
man, you're like a hero to me for going and doing this. This is the hardest
I
part
appreciate it.
of this is the hardest part of the journey is losing weight, is saying no
Yeah,
to all the stuff that I love to throw down my face.
yeah.
So I don't
You
know.
just tell yourself, all right, hey, like imagine yourself the way you want to be, and then ask that person, hey, would you eat this burger right now? Would you eat it? You know, like, get the burger, just take the bun off, the cheese, everything else. It's all protein. That's all good stuff. Make it a lettuce wrap. You know, instead of French fries, get sweet potato fries. It's a little bit better. You know, just little things. But you know, don't cut something out completely. You know, just be conscious when you eat it, and make sure you don't eat it a million times. And you know,
Better
make
bad
sure
choices.
better bad choices. So,
Yeah. All right, brother. Thank you so
all
much for
right,
coming
Chris.
on the podcast today.
No problem. You
You
nailed it.
did awesome.